but Rajesh, as it turns out, is a journalist. He wants us to be brutally honest, and it's more an interrogation than chat. He's a one-man Spanish Inquisition. We weren't expecting that. Rajesh concludes with an invitation to his house. There is zero chance that accepting this particular offer will mean half an hour of chai and chat. We will be there for hours, many hours. We make a loose arrangement for the next day, but in all honesty, we had no intention of keeping it. The following evening, Jacko, Leo and I head to the old city for a last photo shoot. We take a random stroll through the streets to see what we can find. A young Muslim girl standing next to a passageway takes one look at us and disappears into it. It's Rajesh's kids. It's Rajesh's house. What are the chances of that? And what do we do now? Think! Quick! But it's already too late. Rajesh emerges from the passage. Hi, Rajesh. Boy, was this place hard to find. But we're here now. Bollocks. The Occidental Tourists by Phil Wingfield. The protagonists in this tale are myself, Dave Jackson and Liam Ferguson. Junagadh, 23rd of October 2017. The afternoon finds us in the late 15th century Uppercut Fort. Access to the fort is via a steep flight of steps and through the dilapidated remains of a children's play park. At one time they had 5 swings, but now there is only one, plus 4 empty frames, along with the evidence of other erstwhile play equipment. Strolling idly around the former fun palace, I spot a little Muslim girl peeking at me from behind one of the swing frames. It's a cute shot, but when I try to take it, she moves, very deliberately, to mess up my photo. But if I stop trying, she comes out of hiding to taunt me. She's cute and quite mad. A while later, as we are making ready to leave, I feel a tug at my camera bag. She's back. In fact, she, along with 5 siblings and her father, are sitting on a bench close by. She restarts the snap me if you can game, which brings the rest of her family over. Except Dad. He sits staring straight ahead with his arms folded and appears disinterested. But after a while he calls time and gathers up his family, I assume to leave. However, he sits the kids down on the bench and comes over to us. He introduces himself as Rajesh Bukhari. And we expect the usual trite questions, but Rajesh, as it turns out, is a journalist. He asks us real questions, searching questions, the kind we're not comfortable answering. What do we think of the fort as a tourist attraction? How is it being presented? How does it compare to other attractions in India and elsewhere? He wants us to be brutally honest, and it's more an interrogation than chat. He's a one-man Spanish Inquisition. We weren't expecting that. Who does? I'm battling to think of answers that won't lead to more and deeper questions. I find myself wishing he just said, "Please sir, just one pic." After a long and faux honest discussion, during which brutal honesty was asked and never given, Rajesh concludes with an invitation to his house. Now, don't get me wrong. It is nice, flattering even, and absolutely genuine, but never simple. At home, you can pop to see a friend, have a cuppa and a chat, and be done in 30 minutes if need be. But Rajesh is a journalist with a keen interest in our opinions. There is zero chance that accepting this particular offer will mean half an hour of chai and chat. We will be there for hours, many hours. We make a loose arrangement for the next day, but in all honesty, we had no intention of keeping it. I am really uncomfortable with the lie. Rajesh is a genuine guy. Not many Western tourists roll into Junagadh, and he wants to take full advantage. But we have one more day in the city, and we're on the 6:30 a.m. train out the day after. It is time. Always time. That and the grilling we will get if we say we can't make it. Sorry, Rajesh. However, in the words of a great and wise old cartoon turtle, one often meets their destiny on the road they take to avoid it. Junagadh, 24th of October 2017. The following evening, Bro Dave elects to stay in the hotel while Jacko, Leo and I head to the old city for a last photo shoot. We take a random stroll through the streets to see what we can find. A young Muslim girl standing next to a passageway takes one look at us and disappears into it. Are we that scary? As we draw level, I see her with a couple of others lurking in the dark. I draw my camera like a pistol for a joke. There are 4 of them, all girls, talking and giggling with hands over their mouths. This is a fairly normal reaction. I guess we must look funny. But there is something familiar about the smallest member of the group. Then it hits me. Bloody hell, it's Peekaboo. It's Peekaboo and 3 of her sisters. It's Rajesh's kids. It's Rajesh's house. Our entirely random ramble has brought us to Shea Rajesh. What are the chances of that? And what do we do now? Think! Quick! But it's already too late. Rajesh emerges from the passage. Hi, Rajesh. Boy, was this place hard to find. But we're here now. Bollocks. I guess you can also meet your destiny on a road you didn't take specifically to avoid it, but we're very sure the chances of meeting it were negligible. Bloody destiny. I'll make it clear that we can't stay long, as we have things to do, which is true, but it will make little difference. The passageway runs under their house to a small courtyard at the rear. We emerge into the courtyard and look up at the back of the house. Lined up on the balcony overlooking the courtyard and jostling to get a look at the strangers are Rajesh's 7 children, 6 girls and a boy. Rajesh's wife and an older lady who I think is his mother or possibly mother-in-law. 7 kids from 6 to 16 years old, and the boy is the youngest. Ladies and gentlemen, draw your conclusions. Can you imagine the 2 of them going for the later scans? Congratulations, it's a girl. Rajesh's wife looks remarkable, considering she has spent 5 of the last 10 years pregnant or thereabouts, unless of course I had the women the wrong way round. Metal steps take us up to the balcony, which runs the entire width of the house. There are what could be windows and doorways, but they have no windows or doors in them, making it essentially open plan. The only protection from inclement weather is a small overhang above the balcony. I'm not sure if any of the ground level is theirs. The upper level, or the entire house, consists of 2 living rooms, 2 kitchens, and an open space that runs the width of the house parallel to the balcony, which is neither a corridor or a room, but has aspects of both. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'll try. At the point where we enter, it's like an open plan room. To the left, through double wooden doors, it becomes a wide corridor leading to the dual kitchens. One of the kitchens is fairly large, with cupboards, a worktop, a burner and a microwave. But the other is a tiny galley barely 2 metres square, created by panelling in the very end of the balcony. The latter accommodates a tiny table and a small gas burner, the mother-in-law's micro-kitchen. The 2 living rooms lead off this space. They are large and have balconies overlooking the street. In between the rooms, a narrow corridor leads to another flight of metal steps up to the roof. On the wall next to the roof access is a small sink with 1 tap, a small mirror, and 2 baskets containing soap, toothbrushes, toothpaste and the like. It occurs to me at that point that I haven't seen a bath or a shower room or a toilet. We are ushered into what appears to be the main bedroom. On the right is a double bed and matching wardrobe set, insofar as they are both of equally hideous design. The colour scheme is black and white, but the bed has a rose-pink quilt and matching pillowcases. Opposite these along the other wall is a deep purple 3-piece suite with custard yellow patterned cushions. All the woodwork, including the visible ceiling rafters, has been painted sky blue. This room is a triumph of interior design. Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen would love it. We sit with Rajesh and his 7 children. The children don't speak English very well, yet, but they are happy to sit with us. Is this the first time they've had tourists visit their house? Quite possibly. A little later we transfer to the second living room. The rooms are virtually identical in shape and size. The second room is very sparsely furnished compared to its twin. There's a single bed in one corner, a small TV on a stand, 4 plastic garden chairs and a fridge. Yes, a fridge. The room's sparse content is arranged around the edges, leaving the centre clear, for good reason. In the middle of the room, suspended on chains of linked metal rods from sturdy loops in the ceiling, is a large swing. Yes, a swing. The seat is a 2 by 4 board able to accommodate 2 adults. So is this a bedroom, lounge, kitchen, or playground? Rajesh settles himself on one side and invites me to join him, as if it's a perfectly normal evening pastime. Well, it is for him. I ask how much it can hold. As a welterweight I'm not. He says it can support 100 kilos. When I tell him that's how much I weigh alone, he's unperturbed. I sit next to Rajesh, lift my feet, and it holds. Rajesh pushes against the floor, and we are off. As Rajesh and I do not end up buried in the remains of his roof,
Hi!
I take stock of the situation. My intention this evening was to take a little wander around the city, shoot some photos, and head back to the hotel to pack. However, I'm in the house of a journalist I met only yesterday.
Hi!
A house I never intended to visit, but found by pure chance wandering at random through the city. I am sitting next to said journalist on a giant swing suspended from his living room, bedroom, or maybe his third kitchen, ceiling. Bizarre does not come close. The children melt away along with their mother, leaving just the four of us. Considering he is entertaining, Rajesh makes several phone calls while we chat amongst ourselves. But he is a journalist, and office hours are most likely an abstract concept for him. But it wasn't work. Out of the blue, Rajesh's brother, his wife and 2 children pays a visit. We are introduced to the family, but shortly afterwards the wife and the children slip away, leaving the brother with us. Then Rajesh's nephew also pays a spontaneous visit. He doesn't have a family to squirrel away, which is probably a piece of luck, as the other room is getting a little cramped. We suspect Rajesh has been ringing around family members and telling them about us. It's flattering, I guess, but also deeply weird. 3 average blokes from a damp island in the North Sea do not celebrities make. And this is the format of the evening. The men in the swing room, women and children crammed into the bedroom. I stick my head in the other room and say hi at one point, but my presence makes them uncomfortable. I find it a little odd, but it's not my house or my culture. However, on more than one occasion, Rajesh asked me why I didn't bring my family to India. I felt like asking him why he shuts his away in another room. We have a very enjoyable and cordial evening, and for a short time I wondered why I try to avoid them. But time is getting on, and there's that early train. But before I get a chance to broach the subject of leaving, Rajesh asks us to stay the night. Not do we want to stay the night, but would we stay the night? It is phrased as a request rather than an offer. This adds a whole new dimension to the problem, and there I was concerned about how to bring up leaving. Okay, now this is why I avoid these situations. We really can't stay for very good reasons that Rajesh doesn't seem to get. Besides, there are 10 people living in this house, but only 2 rooms and 2 beds. Is he going to offer or request that his relatives stay too? There's no time, no room. My bro doesn't even know where we are. We haven't packed yet, and we're leaving town in less than 9 hours. We have to go. Rajesh actually looks hurt by the refusal. Even though it's not a refusal, it's just simply not possible. He makes me promise to come back to India and bring my family. I say that I will if I can, but that's not good enough. He wants me to promise and stick to it. That's it, mate. Pile on that guilt. The process of leaving takes an age. By the time we cut the last of the many lines tethering us to this situation, it is late. We grab the first rickshaw we find and don't even argue the fare. Back at the hotel, Dave doesn't seem to be put out by the fact we all essentially vanish for the evening. I put down his back healing of 3 small effigies stuck with pins under his bed to an overactive imagination, despite the general consensus that I don't have one. Postscript. I called this story The Occidental Tourists because I thought it was a clever play on words. Occidental means from the West, and we found Rajesh by accident. Occidental tourist, accidental tourist. You see that? Yeah? But as it happens, dozens of people had the same idea way before I did. Damn them. But what would have been better than both would only have worked if Rajesh were a copper and not a journalist. If Rajesh had been a policeman, you'd have just listened to The Swinging Detective. I would have loved to have used that. Oh well. Them's the breaks. The Occidental Tourists was written and read by Phil Wingfield. The Swinging Detective wasn't.